This episode has been brought to you by JustNForm.com. If you're tired of being censored, tired of having your data stolen and sold, go to JustNForm.com, a social media site where all voices are welcome.
So, one of the weakest arguments I have heard, if not the weakest, it's being used to justify attacking those of us on the left who are, critical of institutions that have historically let us down, historically set us up for failure, and even tried to pass, to propagate an Operation Norwood, that would essentially entail killing innocent civilians in order to push us into wars that at the time seemed like we needed to be in, but it was always about money. It was always about those corporations, those same corporations who invested in Nazi Germany, that had subsidiaries in Nazi Germany, people. Yeah. These same people are who we're being asked to trust. And this is the worst argument. I'm glad that Caity Johnstone, definitely follow her on Twitter if you have not. She wrote this on the MCSC network website, which I encourage you to go visit. She has a lot of fantastic articles up there, and we have a lot of other stuff up there as well. She said, the title of the article says everything. Only idiots and liars say that you can advance progressivism and Russiagate. 100% agree. And then she starts off with a quote from Cenk. It's on Twitter. I agree with all this, but we should pursue any crimes real Donald Trump may have committed, including with the Russians. That's the one that he's referring to, really. I do believe that he should be prosecuted on the, impeached under the emolument clause. But the problem is, I believe that 99% of Congress should be impeached under the emolument clause, and half of his administration as well. And none of them are going to do that because they all do quid pro quo gifts and favors for other people for personal gain. So it's just not going to happen, unfortunately. And then he goes on to say, why can't we do both? That is, then he goes on to fix the same argument. It's not too much to ask to stop the Russian interference and fix our own problems. Now, Caity does a very fantastic job of surmising all this in my thoughts, but she goes on to start the article off by saying, Cenk, Uygur's gigantic head has been attacking people on the left who express skepticism of the establishment Russian narrative. And this time, using blatantly false and appallingly sleazy McCarthyist insinuations. Such attacks are nothing new for Uygur. His attack on the Real News, Aaron Mate, sorry Aaron, at the same time as his appearance on Uygur's The Young Turks reeks of the same product perception management he aired about his own staff member, Michael Tracy, last year for the exact same reason. The Young Turks, Uygur's popular progressive media outlet, has been consistently running programming to keep its audience in line with CNN, CIA, Russia narrative, up to and including criticizing Donald Trump for being insufficiently hawkish and aggressive towards Moscow. Since TYT's audience spans across the spectrum from actual leftists to casual MSNBC viewers, this behavior often gets pushback from the anti-imperialist left, including myself, Caity Johnstone, Elizabeth Lee Voss, etc., Tulsi Gabbard, etc., Tim Black, but eventually culminating in public tantrums in which Cenk and his underlings proclaim that it is impossible to advance a progressive agenda while still fanning the flames of Russia. That it is possible to advance the progressive agendas while still fanning the flames of Russia hysteria. This is simply not true. You can't do both. Caity agrees. Most of us agree. You cannot, absolutely not. You cannot do both. Why? Well, we can look at TYT for an example, right? And that argument that's being presented, which is, I believe, is the worst argument for Russia. Why can't we do both? One, it is lazy. It is literally lazy to say, well, nobody said we can't do both. However, you are disconnecting the underlying problem with your assertion that we should do both, which is that there is a quote unquote Russian interference problem. People could say all day that Russia at some point probably tries to spy on America. And I would say absolutely. Because, well, so does Israel. And so does Saudi Arabia. So does China, actually. So does Japan. So does Germany. I mean, every major superpower, including Russia. Why wouldn't they? We go around stomping on whoever pisses us off. So it's probably best and within everybody's interest to pay attention to how we move. I think that's, but like, what interference? What interference? Stop pretending as if you have some concrete evidence of interference. There is none. You know what we do have concrete evidence of? That Andrew McCabe was biased. We have not only evidence via text messages, but we have a paper trail that says the same. And he was in charge of the Russiagate investigation. That James Comey was fired for good reason, leaking information, committing perjury. We also have the House Intelligence Committee just drew up articles of impeachment because the DOJ withheld millions of documents regarding the Russiagate and the Clinton email scandals, respectively. But you don't talk about those things. And what's even more interesting is that Cenk is one of those people who would have you believe, that the mainstream narrative is the one that we should be pursuing. However, he is also the same one who says, the mainstream, we're not the mainstream. We cover what the mainstream won't. That's a lie. It's a lie. They are the mainstream. Just because they appear on YouTube does not mean they are not mainstream. Look at their funding. And if their funding didn't necessarily represent their rhetoric, I wouldn't be as judgmental. But it does. It does. It has represented their narrative, like their rhetoric. It's driven their narrative. It's even seemingly contributed to the people that they fired. At first, people speculated that it was a money issue with Cenk and TYT, but that isn't the case. Like, they fired Nomiki right after she finally gets the delegates, the DNC to push on the super delegates, literally right after, like a week after. Michael Tracy, one of the ones who pushed back the absolute hardest on the Russian narrative. But then they doubled their staff, apparently. So it wasn't a money issue. And when Cenk was asked about this, he totally dodged it. Totally dodged it. He said they were restructuring. So the argument that we can advance progressivism and push the BS Russian interference argument is a fallacious one. Because inherent in progressivism is progress, right? Which means we need to progress past putting our blind faith in intelligence agencies who have lied to us. Susan Rice, former national security advisor to the Obama administration, leaked information on Trump's transitional team, putting all of them in danger, first of all. But that's top secret information. It's need to know basis. James Clapper is James Clapper. Lies all the time. I mean, good God. you just do a Google search on James Clapper, okay? John Brennan, head of a misinformation campaign, according to Seymour Hersh, also lied straight to the legislature's face about the fact that the CIA was spying on them only because the legislature was investigating the CIA, as they should be. These are the people that we're believing. These are the intel communities that we're believing. This is who Cenk is believing, and critiquing anyone who questions the narrative when they were supposed to be the same TYT who stood up to the mainstream narrative. So thank you, Caity, for doing this fantastic article. I want to link it in the description below. Make sure you check that out. because Caity once again does a fantastic job, as always, surmising the thoughts of many of us. But the whole we can do both thing, dead argument. It's not a real argument. It's lazy. It is a way to pretend that you're progressive while just, I don't want to use improper language, but you're essentially, you're just towing the establishment line while pretending to be progressive. That's it. That's all you're doing. Hey, thanks for tuning in to this segment of Mika Says Sukasa. You can join us on JustNForm and make sure that you subscribe to Stop the Russian Menace. Yeah, that's it. If you smash that subscribe button, then USA, just hit subscribe, people. And always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.